So with mindfulness, we're talking about training the mind to become aware of how unsettled our mind can become. And in this training, we learn how to settle the mind through a form of sitting practice of meditation. But the reason we have to learn about the unsettled mind is when we become aware of how unsettled our mind can be, only then we can train our minds to settling the level of agitation or distraction of negative thoughts that can arise. So our minds can be continuously on the move all the time. And they say in mindfulness, our mind can be similar to a butterfly. So your mind continuously just flitters from thought to thought, as the same as a butterfly can just flitter from thing to thing. And all we're doing is observing our mind through mindfulness, is watching where our mind can go. But instead of becoming involved in the thought and letting that thought take our presence away from the present moment, we just allow ourselves to sit and observe these thoughts come and go. As if you are watching a cloud just drift by in the sky, and then you sort of see it disappearing and you let go and you bring it back to the present moment again. And then you might see another cloud come by, and it may hold your attention for a few seconds, and then we realise we're in thought, and we just gently bring it back to the present moment again. So we release involvement with the thought, as opposed to holding our energy and attention with that thought, and that thought having control over then how we feel and turning into a story. So it's becoming aware of the fear-based stories that we project in our internal movie screen. And most of the time we don't even become aware that we're involved in these thoughts that can lead us to feeling worried, stressed, uneased. We've all have this catalogue of negative emotions that come up and arise for us. So being able to be present when we're watching the thoughts gives us a greater understanding of when our mind drifts and our mind wanders, which then can lead us to feeling all these sensations and emotions. So mindfulness is generally designed as a specific way of paying attention to our experiences in the present moment, with an open, spacious and non-judgmental awareness. When we are being mindful, we are in immediate contact with our experience, with our heart and mind open. So as we are learning about settling the mind, and we are giving ourselves the time to practice these exercises, it's quite important as well to understand and set a clear intention of why you're practicing mindfulness and what is it that you are here to do with your mind. So it might be that you are just learning to watch the thoughts, understand your mind a little bit clearer. You may want to practice mindfulness to lessen the levels of stress and anxiety, to become a better person and not so reactive to things and situations. So becoming aware of what's happening in the mind before you get involved in the story and are able to react in a negative way. So really be clear on what is your intention. Do you want to feel through doing these exercises? So what's your motivation that's going to get you through to where you need to be? Because I think most of the time we can try and sit down to do these practices and we will have stuff that props up in our mind, and sometimes we can give ourselves a hard time, so that self-critic, or we can be very judgmental on ourselves that we're not doing it a certain way, or we want to be a little bit more quieter in our mind, but our mind won't allow us to. So every experience that you do is going to be different, because each time you're sitting with different things that are happening in your life. So it's about having that awareness to it too, and that cultivating that attitude as being kind to yourself for whatever comes up, and to remember your intention and what's your motivation for doing this practice. And there really is no right or wrong way. It's more about what you are experiencing and learning from your own mind, and that you're able to bring it back each time. So the moment your mind wanders and you realise you're involved in thought, is to bring it back to the breath and back to the present moment. And that's all we're doing, is just exercising that muscle, that part of our mind, is just allowing it to watch the mind, watch the thoughts, and then gently bringing it back, releasing the thoughts, bringing it back. So this next part of the talk is going to be guided through a short practice of settling the mind. So now we understand a little bit about how it works and why we're doing it. This is just a short practice into recognizing and settling the mind. So allow yourself to become comfortable in a sitting position, maybe with your feet resting on the ground and your back straight